This one is mainly in caps, and we're going to read through the whole thing before even getting into it. They bot or real player? Why I always died at airplane and tank, just like 2 to 5 round, and the 6th round I died another one. Defeat, defeat. This is mobile, not PC. If I can give half star 0.5 out of 5, your tutorial, it's so simple, then the battle. Fix the tutorial now, and give a word recommend to good tank. Huh? You want to say sorry? I will reject your apology. I'm tired and I'm going to play another game than this. I hope I get a PC or laptop to play this War Thunder PC, War Thunder Mobile X, War Thunder PC check. I can barely tell what this review is supposed to be about. Okay. Just like 2 to 5 round, the 6th round I die. So you're saying you die like once every 3 rounds or so. That doesn't sound like a game problem. It sounds like a you problem. Also, if you're saying that PC is better than War Thunder Mobile, you can have that opinion, but that shouldn't mean you to leave a 1-star review on the game, because it's a different game. And if you're reviewing the game by looking at the view of a different game, you're comparing. You're not reviewing. That's not what we have this space for. Also, you're saying the tutorial is nothing like the actual gameplay. That's why after you have the basic tutorial, it leads you into like a set of matches against bots. So you get more so how the flow of the gameplay goes before you actually go against vehicles or players. So that sounds like a you problem again for just saying that it's not good. Because it's good. It's fine. You need to be better. Also, no one's going to say sorry. Why are you asking for that? Give a word recommend to good tank. I've been doing that. That's why I do some videos that I say like, oh, I'm going to rank them. So the community can look at that and see what they think and, choose for themselves. It's the same as War Thunder. War Thunder, because you're saying War Thunder PC is better. War Thunder PC does not have a system where it says this is a recommended tank to use. It doesn't. It's just, it is what it is. You can choose. It's up to you. This game, after Category 3, Naval, Flight, Tank, it's called Aviation, but okay. The level up are really, really slow and hard. Pay to win. At Naval, shooting button problems and glitches. But the development doesn't want to fix it. No any support or help, highlighting the non-existent community. At tank fights, too many premium and special overpowered vehicle. Naval battles are unfair. 3 category ships fighting category 5 or rank 4. Goodness. Fully overpowered premium ships. Rare updates and terrible prices in the game. Prices are regional and also opinionated. If you think they're too expensive, then you don't have to buy it. That's just individual. Rare updates. Updates are like once a month or so. They're not that rare. Also saying that like there are premium ships at rank 4 that are vastly overpowered. I don't think so. There's like one premium that you can buy outright. They're not overly overpowered. They're pretty much the same as the other ones. Also saying there's a non-existent community. If you ever bother to check in your accounts by pressing your avatar, there is a communities tab that shows you where you can go to the War Thunder Mobile communities. I guess you never bothered to check there, because they do exist. Shooting problems for Naval, that I think is an internet connection issue, not so much a Gaijin issue. And if it is a Gaijin issue, they have updated the game multiple times before then and fixed it. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Bad matchmaking. You will be put in matches where the enemy can one-shot you from 1,000 yards with a non-penetration angle. Game is not worth it. 15 out of 20 matches, you will be in a lobby with a bunch of Chinese pay-to-win players. Don't even waste your time on this. Just because they have Chinese usernames shouldn't mean that they are Chinese players. I'll put that out there. Also, you saying that you're blaming your poor gameplay experience on Chinese players sounds awfully racist. Just like extremely, extremely racist. Also, where are you getting 1,000 yards from? Because the game's all in like the metric system. When you go to the capture point, it says like 0.6 kilometers away. You're kind of just making things up at this point, I think. The matchmaking is fine. It's perfectly fine. It's rank-based, okay? It's like War Thunder PC. This is a skill issue, for sure. Oh, this one is really interesting. I am using a tank that's better. Period. What's that supposed to mean? Better? Then what? What are you comparing it to? What do you mean, better? But it continues. Just the thought of it being better, period, is funny. Better than the others. The constant dying and raging, but I am hitting the tank. The crosshair was green, but it doesn't destroy it and nearly destroys me. This sounds like a case where someone was aiming at the machine gun port of a, T26E5 Pershing, where if you're at a distance and you do aim at the machine gun port, it may miss or it won't go through. That just happened. You're going to have to deal with that. I really, really want to like this game. Now that's an interesting beginning. The graphics are great and the gameplay would be fantastic except for one fatal flaw. I've constantly matched against more experienced players. Last game I played, I was against an admiral. I've only been playing for 10 days. Gonna have to delete. There's no fun in this, merely frustration at the lack of meaningful game time. An admiral, you say? Now, unless the player had the username Admiral, the only other case where you would see Admiral above a player's name would be a name tag. And I know we have the Vice Admiral name tag for players that have level 25 ships. I don't know if there's one that just straight said Admiral. But in that case, it's just a tag. It's not going to directly show you how great a player is. Like, for example, I've played a lot of games. I wouldn't say I'm the best player at all. Like, what's the one name tag you get from, like, surviving the majority of a match and then, everyone else dies, but you don't? The Last Hero. I got that by getting that achievement, Last Man Standing 5 times. That's just on a, I played so much it happened. It's not meaning that I'm overly way better than every other player. So it's not something you should be complaining about. It just happens. Now this one I'm definitely showing the name because it's hilarious. From Napoleon Bonaparte. It's a long time no see from this guy. And I don't know if he's playing other games, but let's see. It is the pain of War Thunder on PC, except it has horrible driving control, and the acquisition of vehicles is even more frustrating because now there are no respawns. But all hail the snail, I guess. Horrible driving control can be fixed. If you go into the settings, and you go to options, and you go to controls, and tank, there are options for camera sensitivity and other options for your tank. Also common controls, which you can switch around if you want, and the editor for on-screen buttons if you want to change that as well. Not so much an issue if you actually bother to check those, so maybe you should spend extra time doing that. If you found even more problems while doing that, though, I would ask support for help, or maybe talk to the community about it. There are no respawns. That is a straight lie. If you have a vehicle platoon leveled up enough, and by enough I mean just level 5, which you can speed up by spending a little bit of golden eagles, you will be able to use a second vehicle. If you level up to level 10, you will have a third, and level 15, you will have a fourth. Also, if you do not have your vehicle at that level, you can use backups, which you will acquire over time. I wouldn't recommend spending them all, quickly, but I save them up, so when I get a new platoon, and I only have one vehicle, I can spend it then. Next one. Gameplay is awful. Premium vehicles seem to always get lucky shots. I'm shooting them in the exact same spot and it doesn't do a thing. I'll watch the x-ray after a hit and it'll say everyone their turret is knocked out as I watch them turn their gun at me and shoot. There are some vehicles that have commander control, which means after you knock out the gunner, the commander will swap with the gunner and then the tank will be able to shoot really soon after, which I believe is the case for this review. Also saying that you're shooting them in the exact same spot and it doesn't do anything. Sounds like you're shooting them in the upper frontal plate like a lot, which if you know a little about tanks, you'll probably realize that the front of the tank is the most well armored, and maybe shooting at the exact same spot over and over again isn't the best idea and you should shoot elsewhere. So I'd recommend going around, maybe flanking, or just deciding something else to do with your time than shooting at the exact same spot, because that doesn't really help. Completely pay to win. First 2 games you play against bots and you think this is playable. Third game it's with everyone who's paid for tanks. You can't even pierce their armor, you can't progress in the game for free, and you get 1 shot. Doesn't care about putting experienced or high ranked players in your lobby as a brand new player. This game is for people to empty their wallets and new players to get screwed. Don't even try if you want to play for free, or free to play. As a person who is free, like, haven't paid a cent in this game, here's the statistics. Here's all that I've done. And I really do enjoy this game, mostly. There's some times when it feels really tough. First 2 games you play against bots, that is true. Is the first 2 games after you do the tutorial in like that special area. Third game is against everyone who's paid for tanks who can't even pierce their armor. The way you make it sound is that you're going up against T-34s and I can only assume KV-2s. And you're not aiming at the turret cheeks, or in the case of the KV-2, directly underneath the gun between like the turret ring and the rest of the turret, which is its weak spot. If you do a little bit of research, you'll know where that weak spot is, and you'll easily be able to deal with KV-2s. Doesn't care about putting experienced or high-ranked players into your lobby as a brand new player. It shouldn't care. It's rank-based. If you can't deal with the high-ranked players, or the players that have more skill, that's okay, but that's why you play. You play to get better. It's like playing pretty much every other game. You don't openly, like, maybe for some game, if you do a lot of research, you'll start it and expect to do really well. But for most games, I don't think that's the normal thought process. Competitive games, like other games like, I don't know, Block Blast or whatever all these children are playing these days. And they're like, oh yeah, it's so easy, and I understand it. Sure. But a competitive game is going to be a lot more difficult than that, and you should be ready for that. For people to empty their wallets and new players to get screwed, I don't think that's the truth at all. As someone who started playing and has not to the date spent any money on the game and has done quite well, it's completely free to play. It just depends on how willing you are to learn and like develop your skill in it. Came from PC for the crossover event, and the controls feel terrible, and tanks are near unusable. Planes were slightly better, and I just gave up before even bothering with naval. Extremely hard to aim, as if you have to keep swiping across the screen to adjust the view. I feel a joystick would have benefited the player here, however adjusting the whole position of the vehicle is more difficult than it should have been as well. What? I do realize now that I'll put it up on screen, the guide video that I did, unofficial guide. I did say in this video that my control settings were at 43%, I believe. I didn't realize that it was on a case-to-case basis, and depending on the phone, and especially the phone case, because that does change it, you're going to want to put it at a different setting. I currently have it at 51 because that's what feels most natural for me right now. That doesn't mean you should necessarily put it at 51. You can figure it out yourself. You play a little bit, swap it around a little bit. You tried tanks first. Tanks are nearly unusable. Then you tried aviation, which was slightly better, and you gave up before even bothering to play with naval. Okay? You gave up. That's not something you do when you're playing a Gaijin game. I'd say giving up is one of the last things you should do. I'd recommend going back, trying it again, but as it stands currently, this is going to stay as a skill issue for you. That has concluded this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I know this is a longer one that I have been working for a while to do, and I hope you guys have certainly enjoyed it. If you've watched to this point, please do drop a like and subscribe if you may. And I'll see you guys again in the next one.